What up? What up? Welcome to another episode of 94 Feet with Coach JT. Please do me a favor, leave a like in the comments if you like, and subscribe. I really appreciate that. Like I said, today I had a special guest that just left, a gentleman, Albert Ochoa. He's going to be fighting down in Florida, man. You guys tap in with Albert, a kid from Sacramento. But now I'm right back at it. Let me get to this intro. My guest is a alumni of Sacramento State University. She's a 16-year veteran legislative staffer and the president and CEO of the BYLP Black Youth Leadership Project. BYLP provides a variety of programs to intentionally serve the community. Also, she currently leads a team that puts on a legislative open house and the next level luncheon experience for more than 100 black students annually. Summer social justice boot camps established Sacramento's first ever black high school graduation in partnership with the faith-based community. Also, she created a support networks and 2 support groups to help the community cope with uprising and the stressors that provide community movie nights, created an online documentary club, and also works with families in local school districts, and she can be seen on all major platforms, all major TV screens, news screens. But however, she's just doing what her heart's desire and is focusing on stemming from racial injustice and targeting, also some teacher bias issues, just desperate treatment to restore the child so they can thrive in a more supportive environment. Lorreen Pryor, how are you doing?
That's just a whole bunch of words that means I give a damn. That's all that means. That's all that means.
Thank you for being here. And like I said, offline, as mom is sitting here watching 2 Shacks with 94 feet means outside of the basketball court, though, it's just, as you know, apply pressure, get change tempo, things like that. So right now, just...
And get on offense, because offense, that's where you score the buckets, right?
That is true.
Okay.
That is true.
All right, so I play offense. I don't like to play defense.
Okay, so the offense. So being the offensive person you are, but just the basis of what you do.
Yeah.
But the passion of it too, because as we know, in education, in life in general, people find their niche or find what they're passionate about. What point did you find your passion and niche for advocating for others, students, or also leading in mentorship in your life?
I think I've always tried to serve our community, right? And I've always tried to serve the youth of our community. But I think the turning point for me was when CPS came into my house and took my daughter. And that was one of the most traumatizing experiences based on what a school had told them was going on. And so I had to learn their policies and procedures. I had to learn how to navigate the school system, because I told them if I have to come up here again, my name is going to be out front of that school, right? And so when you have things or experiences that happen, they should have left me alone. You know what I mean? They should have left me alone, because now I'm just nothing to play with. And so they have to be careful how they treat parents, how they interact with parents, and what they do to our children. And so in terms of the educational aspect, the educational advocacy aspect, so what happened in Elk Grove was there was a young lady over at Pleasant Grove who had wrote a letter to the administrators and the teachers, letting them know about different instances that were happening on campus where nooses were being thrown into classrooms when students were taking tests, students were being followed home by someone in a truck with a Confederate flag. And so she tried to raise awareness I don't know the other part of that word, but inside of the campus, she tried to raise awareness. That did not work. She went to the news. Elk Grove had this town hall. Over 300-400 people showed up. I happened to be the first speaker. I told her, take a break. I got it from here. And I've had it ever since. And that was 2018.
That's crazy. So, but it's a good thing. It's needed. But the services and opportunities you provide for support as far as like individual families, things like that, but also even for me, just seeing the BG. Let's talk BYLP actually first.
Okay.
Your role in BYLP, were you one of the originators to create this as well?
I was not. So BYLP was actually founded by Black Capital staffers in 1999. I was 2 years out of high school, so I was not there. I took over in 2009, and yeah, I took over. That's it. That's all I can say about that. I took over.
You take over BYLP. What type of opportunities does BYLP present for the students that come Actually, is this to enroll in BOLP? First off, how would one even get a chance, the opportunity to be a part of the program?
Reach out. I mean, we have several different things going on right now, and I always get the question is, how does my child enroll, right? I don't think we have a formal enrollment process. What we have is we offer certain things that students and their families can take advantage of, and they can sign up to be a part of it. There is no rejection because I want it all, right? And so we just have different things. So in terms of right now, we have the BBSN, which is the Black Boys Support Network, BGSN, the Black Girls Support Network. We have BASN, which is our Allies to Abolitionists. Those are our non-Black brothers and sisters. And we have Black Parents Support Network, because we know that a lot of times our parents are missing in action, and it's not because they want to be. Sometimes they're working. Sometimes the school schedules meetings where they can't be at. And so we know that our parents need sometimes that extra help navigating the system. And so we offer that. And then we have 2 support groups, the DOOR for Black men, and then the DORA, which is a spinoff of the Black Panther Warriors, because we have to try to, take care of everybody when we are suffering our own type of, we're trying to navigate too, but our responsibility is to take care of our family, take care of our children, take care of everybody. And I'm so sick of that strong Black woman trope, because it's a lie. Like we are strong because we have to be, not because we want to be.
Right.
Yeah.
So and you saying that in general, being strong, but no, as far as that goes, but now also, how hard is it? Because we see the women are being successful movement. We see the women are taking the jobs, supposedly, all that, how that's moving that way, as far as that's the hierarchy, or that's where we're going. But as you said, to be strong, to even yourself, people who are working with you, or other women and businesses who are fighting for either equal rights or just for others, but how draining is, because I mean the hours you put in, or the moves you do, the speaking you do, even though we talked offline about you wanting to stay behind the scenes, but when you're at the forefront of it, the physical, how is that for you?
What my best friends would tell you, and what my mom will tell you, is I usually don't stop until I'm made to. So if I get sick, I stop. If there's something that happens that, I need to push, like sit down and be still, and that's normally only sickness. Other than that, it's full court press all the time.
All the time.
All the time.
All the time.
Yeah, I was working today before I got here. So.
There's no doubt in my mind. I definitely can believe that. So, for us being Black people, people may get the misconception of, based upon what we wear, how we look, but how are you able to? One, I mean, the education behind it. Where are you getting your resources from? Because you know a lot. I mean, you quote stuff.
Resources in terms of information or money?
Information, not information.
Okay.
First, to be able to present at the school board meetings to other parents or in dialogue. Because some of this stuff, I mean, personally, that I'm reading or a part of now, I didn't see as much of it being taught to me, or just it wasn't out. I couldn't go find out as much information when we were growing up. But now it's like listening to you other people speak. I'm like, okay, yeah, this is something I need to tap into. I need to be informed, but you had to learn from somewhere.
Well, I think that the beautiful thing about the different experiences that I've had working, one being working at the Capitol for 16 years, there are certain skills that you pick up on. How to read through legislation very quickly, how to read through newspaper articles or whatever information you have to kind of whittle it down to the main points, right? And so in terms of the information that I love to talk about, there were 3 reports that were released that were out of San Diego State. The first one was Get Out, the State of Black Male Suspensions in the State of California. The second one was the Capital of Suspensions, and then they followed it up this year in Black History Month. It was the Suspending Our Future report. And the Suspending Our Future report is the one that had Elk Grove as number 1, and I had been talking to them since they were number 3. So now they're number 1, and I gloat about that because, again, we cannot fix something we won't acknowledge. And so my job is to just keep putting the information up there to make them sick of me, so sick of me that they decide to change their ways. They're not there yet, but they're getting there.
Yeah. Like the full court press is on. The pressure is there.
Yeah.
But now on the other side, how do you inform parents and families of where they should lean to, or how they should guide toward information to help them better get results from their school or just out of their student as well. Because we talked about how education is different. The last 2 years with COVID, students are different. There's a huge gap.
Right.
How do we go about right now in this state of mind we're at, this state of wherever pandemic, the year's almost over already, but how do we push to get positive feedback from, let's take care of our side first, our kids, our parents in general. How do we get them in a better mindset and back on track a little bit?
Well, I mean, that's the $1 million question, right? Because again, COVID not only impacted our children, it impacted our parents. Everybody is reeling from, everything stopping like instantaneously. And so with the work that we do, unless parents tap into one of the workshops that we provide for free,
right?
I really don't interact. Our interaction comes more so when parents reach out to us because they need help with either their child was suspended, mostly is suspended, but why they were suspended, whether it was teacher targeting, racial bias. We do stuff with IEPs and 504s. So it kind of depends on what the families need in that moment, because a lot of times when families contact us, they're in crisis mode. And our job as a team is to make sure, one, we calm them down. We get to the bottom of what it is that they're talking about, that we get an understanding of what it is they're talking about, and we get the supporting documentation, because you don't move forward without the evidence, right? You can't really derive a conclusion just based off what somebody's telling you. So we require information that we can use to our client's best advantage.
And I'm glad you said that, because you made it very clear. Again, it's not just show up and try to get results, responses.
Oh no, you got a part to play in this. Yes,
that's the background, the capital thing. Let me let me do my information. Let me gather it, time, date, stamp everything, and it's presented in a manner to where it's accurate and you're informed correctly, so you can go present it correctly and get hopefully some type of response based upon the preciseness of what you've done.
And your response, the way that you respond, is going to dictate whether they really answer you or whether they slap you with the restraining order. A lot of times our parents, when they do show up to school, they're very emotional. And this is not a game that you can play emotional. You have to go in just very factual. This happened, and I want to know why.
Right. So you've had a lot of practice in doing it.
I have.
But also you've had some struggles in it. On this show and just in life in general, we talk adversities all the time with everybody on the show. Getting something like this off the ground, and like I said, anybody can start something, but for you to continue it and for it to grow, like I've seen it now, it's branched out. Now you're reaching other states, other parents, other students worldwide, different diversities. But what are a few things that probably you've came across where you had to overcome, a couple hills, a couple mountains you have to overcome and climb?
Well, I think the one of the biggest things is people assume because I pour everything that I have into this that I get paid for it. I don't. I'm like a super volunteer. I do it because I love it. I stepped away from the Capitol because my community needed me to. The other thing is, when you're doing this type of work, first of all, it's a thankless job. Right. If you're just here for applause, or you're here because, you have one day a thought of making a lot of money, that's not going to happen. So I need to build a team of people who understand that it's a hard work. We're not out here to get rich. We're out here to serve the community and consistently serve the community, and that's been, I think, one of the biggest struggles is finding people whose hearts are in the work and not really worried about the money. I believe, honestly, the money will come one day.
Because it's something you could do for free. Yeah. You do for free, right? If you can do it all your life and not get paid for it, that's a passion. That's something you would do.
100%.
You talk about
100%.
Team. You've been around sports all your life, I know, too. So your team, though, I mean, we got to give a shout out to your team, but if you want to name a few of them, but also this little bit of the selection process, because it wasn't just anybody. It wasn't just, but I mean, certain people in the team.
Are you talking about the support networks, or are we talking overall?
Well, let's go overall, though, because I mean, I know you've needed support from your team, so you have to get people from the, who can really rely on or come through for me. I need you.
I think that if we're being candid, it's easy for people to come around when something seems
good,
exciting, right? It's when the excitement wears off that you're kind of like, okay, but what happened? Where y'all at? And so the selection process with mentors for BBSN and BGSN, they had to go through a couple of weeks to see if they would even, like they had to write a commitment agreement. Now, 98% of those gentlemen are no longer involved. Right. But I think that once it becomes a passion again for somebody really wants to pour into these young men, maybe we'll see some change. I mean, Jordan is still there, but Jordan doesn't work with BYOP full time, right? Jada is still there. They don't work full time. I'm looking for people who have a passion to do this work, who don't mind. And of course, my team in the office told me I can't hire nobody else. They're going to have to go through a gauntlet of questioning and all of that. And they're taking that off my plate because, again, like you said, everything is exploding in a way. And it's getting to be too much for me as an individual. So shout out to Auntie Pam and my mom who's in the office with me, Miss Candy, and Lisa who's still here. Jada's still there, and Jordan is still there.
Dope. So and we're alive, and I'm part of that 98%. Sad to say.
Yeah, you stepped away and didn't come back. I know.
I'm just,
and you got a whole basketball
see, that's
team
the thing, right?
and
but
that
the
you
timing,
need to send them back.
See the timing of it. And I do believe that. I do believe timing is. Hey, it's not on my time. But it is for me trying to regroup, re-understand what's going on, or re-look at it like, how can I really bring all my resources together?
Right.
Being in the school now, too, but also having resources like that, it makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense,
and our
right?
programs are free.
Oh, yeah,
all
definitely
our support
free.
services are free.
But now we can hopefully
make
get
sure everybody
locations,
okay.
we get facilities, like we talked about. So now it's how we bring it together to help others, too. But also, so I definitely, like I said, if I can say that.
Yeah,
I
expect you to visit the office soon. I definitely know
that. Oh, yes, like I said,
because it's important that we know where our folks are, right? If something goes down, I know a lot of times. Into
somebody.
Yeah, I know a lot of times people like to tell me, "Oh, well, your territory is Elk Grove." Right. My territory is where the complaints come from.
True.
Wherever I'm needed, that's where I go. Whether it's in Ohio, if it's in Texas, if it's in Virginia, I've supported families in those areas. And so where these complaints take me, that's where I'm willing to go. And, there's like this saying, like, God don't want me to tell him how great I am. He just wants a yes. So I just want to move. Like, and I need to build a team that if I move,
it'll still rock.
That they still got it handled in the office.
Definitely get it. You talked about moving already, so.
But I'm not moving. I'm just saying.
But as far as moving around, but so how difficult is that taking on other opportunities as far as to help support out of state now? So now, right, different set of rules, probably different set of engagement, like different people. How difficult is that part? Because that's a lot.
Well, I can specifically talk about Atlanta, Georgia. So, luckily, the lead for our Black Parent Support Network is in Atlanta, so that makes it a little easier. We've been to Atlanta. We've spoken to one of the school board members there. She invited us to our house. We had pizza, but we talked about some of the things that we see happening here in California. As California goes, so goes everybody else. So what they were asking me to do was to come back and talk about the board policy and administrative regulation I co-wrote with some community members and the administration over in Elk Grove Unified. They needed us to come in and kind of talk to their police partners about what we need them to do when they come into contact with children. Right. The problem is, even though we have that on the books in Elk Grove, there's a problem with enforcement. If they would have done what that administrative regulation told them they needed to do, I assume that SWAT wouldn't have been able to pull out all the black males on Friday. And nobody wants to talk about that. Nobody wants to talk about how it's a civil rights violation to go in and intentionally target one group of students.
Different makeup. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But everybody wants to gloss over that. Like, oh, it wasn't a big deal. Nobody was arrested, but you traumatized this group of students and you don't have any supports in place to help them through that experience.
So support is the biggest thing after anybody's trauma, right? From mental health, anything, youth, whatever it is, right? The biggest support things, and we talk about that. So let's talk about more the support now too, because as we know regularly, it's going to be trauma every day, different, small, big. your first support network was put together, which was what?
BBSN.
BBSN.
Mm-hmm.
So for those that don't know, BBSN is
the Black Boys Support Network.
Black Boys Support Network.
One.
That was the first one.
Mm-hmm.
So within this network, these young men, even the mentors or fathers who participate with their sons, can you give me more behind the scenes, or what is your outlook? Actually, give me what do you see this network being in, starting at, and then where do you see it, let's say 5 years? But to give me the start of it, what was the start of it? What was that like to start that network?
To start it, so it happened right after George Floyd was killed. There was a lot of tears, not just from boys, but men as well. Mm. And so we were trying to, provide a space where people could come in and connect and just talk about what it is that they're going through or what they're feeling based on what they saw. We opened up a few Zoom meetings just, because everybody was at home. We opened up a few Zoom meetings, and the amount of tears, the amount of uncertainty, the amount of just sheer panic, because they're like, am I next, right? And so when we started this, we wanted to just provide a safe space for boys to come and talk to men, like not necessarily women, come in and talk to men about their fears and anxieties and dealing with everyday life.
And as we know, that can be ever changing.
And I'm not a man, and I can't tell them what it's like to be a boy. And that's not my place. I wanted to create a place where they had access to men who would understand, because they don't get that on school campuses most times, or there's 1 or 2 Black men on campus, and most of the times they're in charge of discipline. And so there wasn't really a soft place for them to be. And so that's why that came. But you can't create a boys network and not a girl. So BGSN followed.
Right. But I like the way you said it, put a soft network too, right? Because that stigma, that aura, that you got to be tough all the time. You got to be hard. Times are different in that aspect too, but also the mental part of healing young boys, men, is needed so high, like every day. I see it, you see it. BGSN. Definitely, young ladies definitely are definitely with it. The movement for that is definitely popping. I mean, I can see the ladies, they rock, but I mean, they do. The support is there, right? A lot of female support, a lot of female stuff.
We have more females who stayed around than men, and I think that energy is contagious, right? So they see me and they're like, oh, dang, well, if she's here, and she created this, I want to be a part of it. So we have a good core group of ladies that come through every week and just listen. And then we have a cohort of young ladies that start at college, and so they're dealing with their own struggles.
Nice.
And so everybody's starting to try to come back and see how we can really kind of surround and undergird these young ladies as they're going through different things that, we may not always see, and that they may not always tell their parents. And we're cognizant of that. And,
I think that was one of the biggest things too, that the pluses though, because the safe space for kids to talk to somebody else other than somebody who's going to discipline them if it's wrong or right, or if they made the wrong choice or did the wrong thing. Just that environment to be themselves, one, but also be open to say, okay, I didn't do this well, or I'm not feeling cool about this, is needed for sure, because the communication or how kids advocate for themselves is so just...
Well, a lot of our kids, the problem is they're right fighters. And you only have one time to disappoint them. If they come to you and tell you something has happened, you have one time to not respond to that.
Because that could push them the opposite way. They're done with you.
Well, then they're going to come back with an attitude, and you trying to figure out why. Yeah? Okay. Yeah. That's what happens when they are ignored, and research shows that Black children are not ignored, or are not listened to when they come and they bring problems or issues to the administrators. They're seen as the problem. They're seen as ghetto, ratchet, hood, all those words that have negative connotations. So when they come and they say something, they're not believed. And if I'm not believed and I continue to try to advocate for myself, one, they're a child. There's a power imbalance on these campuses. So I always tell our kids, you come get an adult and you let that adult come in and you equal out that power imbalance. Because if they say the wrong thing, the children can be suspended. they can be disciplined in any way that these administrators are feeling that day.
Right.
And so I try to get our kids to shut up. You know, you have the right to remain silent. Shut your mouth and come and get
Ask for
somebody
help.
who can come in and advocate for you.
So is there, and I'm looking through before we get to the BYLP, is there anything in place right now for the parents to get informed on how to do that correctly?
We have a couple of videos on our website in the archive videos, I believe, where there's advocacy 101, how to speak to school administration, or if there's something that they want to know specifically, I have no problem setting up something so that they can learn. We've done several meetings on homeschooling your child. We've done meetings on 504s and IEPs. So it's just, I need to know what people need. Otherwise, right. I'm just talking into a void, and I don't have time to do that anymore.
So for you to know, where can they submit information and how can they find it as far as
they can email info@bylp.org if they have something they want to know. If they want someone to come in and sit with them, or they have specific questions, they can call the office 916-513-7959 and schedule something to come sit down with somebody.
So I think that's one of the big things I see is that middle, that to get from point A to point B sometimes is lost, or to C, but you got to go through B. They don't know how to get there. So like, who do I talk to? Or also you got to be upfront with yourself and say, I don't know how to handle this, or I don't know what to say or what to do. So, well,
I think what we're seeing though is we're seeing parents respond in the way they've always responded to things in life, right? But this is a system. This is a systems of respectability politics, if you will. We cannot go in the same way that we go into everything else. They'll turn a deaf ear to you, and they'll label you the problem, and they'll get rid of the problem, i.e. restraining orders. I don't give them that opportunity. So if parents have an issue that they want mitigated and they don't know what to do, that's why you come get an advocate, and we will walk with you through the process. That's how that works.
Definitely dope. So y'all, again, use the resources, right? That's one thing I want to make sure I use this platform for different people, whoever my guests are, but whoever comes on as a resource, because hopefully, again, somebody may need a resource. Use it. You know, it's there for you.
And use it while it's free. I don't anticipate it's always going to be free. Because we spend a lot of time. I always get asked, are you sure you're not an attorney? I am not an attorney. If I had a law degree, they'd be in trouble for real. But I think you have to use the resources while they're at your disposal. You have to. And if you don't, and at some time we implement a sliding scale for the services we provide free of charge. That's just what happens.
Because it didn't always start out. You had to pay. It started out free. So, you know, like you say, get in while you can.
Yeah.
So before we talk about a little bit of BYP stuff I brought up here, I do want to thank my sponsor, Smart for their kids, but also I remember I had the shirt little sale a while ago. You had to throw a little shade. I brought one for you. I appreciate you. I had one for you. I appreciate you.
But I brought mine.
Again, I know that's good. So now you got the different color though. So you know you did. Thanks for the support, and Smart for their kids again for just supporting the show, and just again giving me the opportunity to do something I'm loving to do even more and more every day. And BYLP, though, I'm looking at your programs in front of me right here. I think one thing that stood out for me is the Social Justice Boot Camp.
The Social Justice Boot Camp.
I believe you have one coming up.
Oh, Lord. So we're actually kind of going to put a spin on our regular Social Justice Boot Camp. So the Social Justice Boot Camp was founded, I want to say, in 2017 or 2018. I partnered with Jewel Jones, who is the youngest elected official in Michigan state history. He has some legal issues right now, but we still rolling with him because loyalty is everything. But a side note, we do have our camp. We have a camp collaboration coming up November 12th through the 14th. It's called Camp Hack the Woods. We're going to fuse social justice, STEM, and nature, and we're going to allow Black children to be children. So many times they can't relax because somebody's always nitpicking them. And so we want to provide an environment where they can just come and just be.
That's definitely good. And get them out of the city.
Get them out of the city.
I mean, because some of them may not get the opportunity to actually, they don't leave
100%,
Sacramento.
and it's free. It's free.
Again,
and you know the transportation up to Camp Grizzly Creek is free. They get to spend a whole couple of days with me. I mean, how what else could be?
A great experience. So also I see on here the legislative open house.
Yes.
flagship program.
That is the
but
flagship.
Tell me about that.
So the legislative open house is basically we bring students to the Capitol for a day and they function as elected officials. We teach them how a bill becomes law. They argue in the committee rooms and then they go on to the Senate and Assembly floor at the end of the day. Now, COVID has changed that. I don't know when they will reopen the Capitol to us, but once they do,
Right back in there.
right back in there.
How was the experience for the students for them to get actually in the building, which I'm sure half of them probably thought they'd never be in unless, but again, some do. Some aspire to be in there. But just initial taking them on those tours in the building, sitting in there.
I don't take them on tours. I put them to work.
Oh.
Yeah, we don't take tours. I'm not a tour guide.
The work they do while they're in the Capitol.
Yeah.
How are they feeling?
I can't speak for them. What I can tell you is that we've had some folks come through, like the former mayor of Stockton, Michael Tubbs, was one of my students. The current Pinole City Council member, Devin Murphy, was one of my students. And so I think that it's having an effect because their government classes, I don't know what they're teaching our students, but we have a chance to teach them in a different way. Like we're community teachers, right? I don't have to have a credential to come in and tell you firsthand, okay, as my job here at the Capitol, this is what I do. This is what I have to pay attention to. So I think them seeing somebody who looks like them and somebody taking the time out, because we're all legislative staffers that put on this program. We took the day off work to be with the kids, right? And so I think that them just seeing us and us being able to really love them where they're at and meet them where they're at and encourage them and be their biggest cheerleaders. I think that it's one of those things that is a life-changing experience for sure.
How does it make you feel?
So if I can be honest, I rarely relax on legislative open house days. I'm always running from place to place. I never eat. I always get some sort of I don't know if it's like nervous sickness, but I'm always running around because I want to make sure that they feel loved and that they are valued and all these things, because you have to imagine in that building, there are not a lot of black kids that come in that building. You're talking about over 100 in one day, and they like, wait a minute, hold up, what's happening here? And so, when there's more than 3 of us in the hallway anyway, they like, okay, what they plotting? They plotting on us, right? And so as someone who's been doing this, I started with BYLP in 2005. I didn't take over to 2009. To see it evolve in the way that it has, I guess I would say I'm proud of it. I don't know. I don't look at it like that. I'm just like, I want more kids. Where they at? Who else can I expose to this?
Ready to do
Who
the
else
work.
do I need to connect with? So I think I'm harder on myself than anybody else would be.
Right.
But I'm absolutely proud of the work that we've been able to do. They went from raising, before we came on, they raised something like $6,000 a year. Our first year, we raised $21,000, and now we're grossing somewhere upwards of 100K. So, we're doing the work and we're making sure that we're providing the services that we feel black families and black students can benefit from.
Definitely dope, and definitely should be highlighted, but also, again, use people. If you're listening, use the resources. It's there for you.
Yeah, and if you listen and you know some resources, have them write us a check. Black Youth Leadership Project, we are 501c3. It's a tax write-off. Write us a check. We'll take it, and we'll put it to good use.
Please do. BYLP GOAT.
So GOAT is the Goals, Organization, Applications, and Transcripts. So what we decided to do, well, we didn't decide to do. Sharina Shaw, who wrote up the GOAT program created it. She's a former administrator within the Elk Grove Unified School District. She has 2 masters, a serious homeschooling mama. She wrote up GOAT to make sure our students were prepared to go to the next level. So that's doing your college essays, creating your curriculum vitae, making sure that you are prepared to go to those college fairs when they come up. So shout out to Sharina and Michaela, who are still running that program. And again, that program is free. All folks need to do is sign up and show up. She's there to serve, and She wants to serve, and we're not getting as many students in that program that we want. But if they're serious about going to college and they have a dream school, she will help you get there. She just needs your time and your consistency.
BYLP GOAT. So all you college students or high school students who want to get in college or need support, need help, that's a great resource. Like I said,
100%.
We'll make sure we highlight it. We'll make sure I'll definitely post it more and tag it on this episode. And because I had a couple of my players at the high school just do a couple small little essays from a sorority as well. But it's not limited. It's a lot of stuff they can get to, but we need to know where it's at, and where they can find it. So hopefully,
and it's a one-stop shop. Just like come in there and take advantage of the stuff that we have for you.
All there.
You know what I mean? Like you don't even have to travel. Like just come on, just come on and take advantage of this stuff. It's free to you and your family. Nice. You have a bunch of folks who give a damn and they're concerned about you and your children, and they will love you right where you're at. You don't have to be perfect in any way. Just come. Nice.
And last but not least, the advocacy part.
That's probably my baby.
So the advocacy part, okay.
That's where I come alive. That's what gets me the opportunity to fuse all of the stuff that I've learned in the Capitol and the stuff that I've read in these reports, and just the inaction of all these school districts. Most of these superintendents in this region know me. If they don't know me, that's because I haven't had a complaint that has caused me to introduce myself to them. But they will know me because based on the numbers that we're seeing, it looks like I'm going to be in Twin Rivers soon. It looks like they may need my attention really soon. Sac City, we already know they're number 3 in the state for disproportionate discipline of black children. I actually have a pretty decent relationship with that superintendent, but again, he hasn't brought me on campus, and I want to know why. You know, like those are the questions that I have. Elk Grove, I'm a thorn in Elk Grove's side. I don't care that they don't like it until they acknowledge that there's a problem with black children in their district, until they start to listen to us and put supports in place to deal with the black students in their district. They will continue to see me, and I will continue to be a problem.
So how do we, from the other side, outside resources, people in the community, whatever, help support BYLP or students just in general, may not be a part of the program? What are some tips or some things we could do or should do to help our students a little better each day, be a little better each day, survive the days and make it through the adversities, the stressors? What are some things that we could do?
One of the things that has been a consistent theme with the students that I do talk to is parents need to listen to them, and they need to believe them when they tell them that something is going on at school or a teacher doesn't like them. Believe them. If they say so-and-so's not treating me fair, believe them. And don't just say, don't you go over there embarrassing me. Like, really take heed to what it is that they're saying. The other thing you can do is consistently check in on your kid, right? Read the school handbook. Know the policies and procedures that will help your child navigate, especially if you're going to keep them in public school. You have to know the rules of the game before you can exploit them. So, and the other thing is link with other parents and y'all be consistent. There's power in numbers. A lot of times what we see is parents will call us, we help mitigate the issue, and those parents go away. And then, we don't see or hear from them until it's another issue. We cannot continue to do the same things expecting a different results. We need to be at the school board meetings. We need to be up in these people's faces, and not in the way of ready to fight. No, by highlighting the issues, highlighting their inaction, and making a request or a demand of them.
It's a way to do everything, right? It's a protocol to follow, a way to do everything, things like that. Forward mapping thinking, where do you see your programs, BYLP, going in the future?
I don't know. It's always one of those questions. I'm not really... I'm a big picture type of thinker. I don't really focus on step-by-step stuff. So I don't really know. I'm out here doing what I see needs to be done. I would hope that more families will find out about us. The news coverage is helping. Thank you, News 10 and Fox 40 and Channel 3. The news coverage is helping a bit.
Yeah.
But I would hope that we would get more attention, more families who want to kind of link arms with us. I would hope that we could raise our fundraising profile a lot, and that I could actually get paid for what I do one day.
That's what's up. So, like, before we always, in all my shows, and I'm sure as you heard before, like triple threat in basketball, dribble, pass, and shoot, before I ever. And what you do is something, people can label it whatever they want to label it, right? But for yourself, if there's a person that inspires to be you or somebody watching this that needs information, just give me your 3 things that you hang your hat on, because to walk into buildings and facilities and meetings, you have to have some type of morals or type of code that you go by. But 3 things that you hang your hat on that you would just tell somebody else or inform somebody else that you're triple threat. Yep.
Well read and well versed. Intentional about the way in which we connect and love each other or other folks. And the 3rd thing, well, my alter ego is a Killmonger. So I would say
time and a place.
Hey, auntie.
Time and a place though, which everybody needs that.
Well, you have to have that, I don't want to say killer instinct, but that he knows who he is. And he was very clear
from the start
about it. And he said that people could have come to help him and rescue him, but they watched him suffer. They left him behind to suffer. And so he developed this killer instinct to really address the problems that he saw. So I love Killmonger. I think he's amazing. But I think that with T'Challa, he was more respectability politics. So I have to fuse the two based on the environment that I go into. But Killmonger was right.
That's definitely dope. Again, let everybody know where they can find you and give donations and get resources, everything. Put it out there one more time.
They can go to our website, www.bylp.org. They can find us on Instagram at BYLP, Facebook, Black Youth Leadership Project. Each one of those places have our link tree. So any services that we offer, any news coverage, anything that you may be looking to find out is available to you. All you have to do is look. Again,
resources there, free services there, information, support, opportunities for youth to get involved, get to college, get help getting into college is there. And thank you for taking time out your busy schedule.
Oh,
I know you're going right back to work.
I'm going to bed.
I know you're going to work. But again, parents, students, use the resources, ask questions,
Absolutely.
tap in. Funders, whatever you want to call them, people want to give donations, do that as well because it's for a good cause. But also, we know it's not cheap. It's not everything. The work is not free outside of what you're doing. People are doing. So, thank you for coming out.
It's my pleasure. All you had to do was ask. I told you, like.
And you guys, again, I just want to reiterate again, people support. If you do not advocate for yourself as a parent, as a student, tap in because everybody needs somebody for something.
100%.
It's something I definitely say all the time.
And I'm not limited geographically to where I will go. If you need the support and the help, I will come to you.
Right.
So,
which is
even if it's virtually.
Hey, nowadays you can make it happen.
100%.
94 Feet with Coach JT and Miss Lorreen Pryor. Thank you. Peace.